It's like deja vu. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bodacious Rant. This time, though, we are talking some movies this time. So if you haven't already, we did post our Invincible Season 2 Part 2 episode. So for those of you who did catch up, feel free to check that out. But we are talking a movie that, again, one of those movies I did not intend on liking or thinking it was going to be that good. And that is the newest film from Dev Patel, who was from Slumdog Millionaire and couple other things I can't think of at the moment, but this is Monkey Man, which he directed. This is his first time movie, and Jordan Peele produced. This is a non-spoiler review, so if you do like the video, give us a like, ring the bell for notifications, and of course subscribe. We appreciate you all for that. And this is a very interesting movie because the trailers, I feel like, while it's a very simple story, like a kind of revenge story where Dev Patel's character, he loses his mom at a very young age, tries to hunt down the people that essentially took her from him. It's kind of got a mix of everything a bit. It's a bit of an underdog story for minorities in India and himself. It's like John Wick, Slumdog Millionaire, and The Raid had a weird baby together, a trifecta of those kind of movies. Because it's got a bit of that where like Slumdog, just because Dev Patel back in India and stuff like that, showing the very gritty side of it all. But then John Wick and The Raid, where it's like way more of a criminal underbelly going on to that side of where they're at. I don't think they said specifically where they're at in India, or I couldn't catch it, but it was just very, very well done. I think Dev Patel killed it, not only as a director, but as an actor. I think he did a really good job. What did you think about this movie, Vern?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very surprised by this movie. One that, like, again, we didn't really hear about until South by Southwest, where, this movie was getting a lot of buzz. So, after hearing about that, I was very much looking forward to it. And, seeing the trailers, like, oh, okay, this is going to be a really cool, like, action-packed, John Wick-esque movie, in the very, like, neon-dripped underworld. But what we got was a little bit different from that, It was very much more akin to something like you mentioned, like The Raid, where it felt a little bit more in line with that, where this movie is a lot more grittier and dirtier and just, scrappy. It was something I wasn't expecting. Seeing the trailers, I thought it was going to be a little bit more glossy, and again, like a lot of that John Wick aspect of it. But yeah, well, even though what we got was, the opposite of that, I thought it really worked for this movie in terms of, like you mentioned, the themes of it all, the tone of it all, how it's very much like an underdog story, and just all around it just feels like the production in a way was very much matching what was the story on screen. You hear I'm sure, like, people who like want to listen to interviews with like Dev Patel talking about the experiences of making this movie. Everything just sort of like felt like it fed into it, like a lot of the production struggles, the budget concerns and all that. The way that it all came together in this like really, really like angry, savage film was really, really cool. And also I really was surprised by how it touched on a lot of other things, like the political aspect of India, the religious aspect of India, and the culture and the mythology that it sort of like ties into this movie. Again, really took me by surprise, and was not expecting that going in for sure.
Yeah, especially the LGBTQ aspect of it too. It's kind of it's an aspect in a lot of other cultures, but we just don't really see it too much or hear about it. So I did like that it touched upon that to a certain extent. Apart from, I think overall, like the scenes about really viewing the city, the nightlife, and just kind of the intimate moments that Dev Patel had in his like conscious and stuff like that throughout the movie, I thought those were very well shot. It's just when the action, I feel like it's going to be very hit and miss. Me personally, I did not care for the very shaky camera work where it's just like quickly pan over. But that's kind of plays into the whole aspect of the story where it's not like John Wick in The Raid where it's very clean and very choreographed fighting to that caliber essentially. It's definitely just more brawling film and really just a brutal movie. I think you said it perfectly, describing the city and the crime and stuff like that in there. And then we had the only other actor I really knew from it is Charlton Copley. I'm sure the other actors are big in like Bollywood and stuff like that because most I think they're all actually Indian actors. I could be wrong, but I think that's what just added to the authenticity of it for the most part. So I really enjoyed it. Having said all that, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5 because it's doing really well with critics, which is great. I think Dev Patel definitely deserves a win with this one as his first movie. It's just like I said, the camera work kind of took me out of the fighting here and there, and the first half was a little slow to kind of get there, but the second half is really what made up for it. So I definitely would recommend it. It's only available in regular theaters, so they're not you don't have to break the bank by trying to see it in IMAX because it wasn't filmed in IMAX. It was just a regular movie.
Yeah, no, it was in fact like partially filmed on like iPhones and GoPro, so the total opposite of IMAX. So yeah, I mean, look, to come out of the gate, with a directorial debut like this is really cool, and it reminds me of stories you hear from directors like Sam Raimi, and his experiences making like the first Evil Dead movie, where you're just kind of like piecing things together and just like guerrilla filmmaking, and just kind of working with what you got, and the fact that what we got from Dev Patel was this movie is really really dang cool. Everything you mentioned, from to the action, all the character work here that I thought was really good. Like again touching on different themes of like this revenge and like finding purpose and stuff, and just sort of channeling your rage and making it beneficial for someone other than yourself. I thought was really cool. The choreography was a lot of fun. Like you mentioned, when you can see it, I did sort of have that complaint initially where a lot of the earlier parts of the movie were done in that shaky cam style. But the reason it worked for me more than it didn't was because it definitely ties into the narrative and where the character is at that point. So I always like when things like that serve a purpose, and it's not just like a gimmick that we got with a lot of action movies from the early 2000s, like the Taken sequels and the Bourne sequels, where it felt like there wasn't a narrative need for that sort of style, whereas in this movie it definitely ties into it, and the main character and like what his journey is. So I thought that was all really really well done. So there are like certain things that sort of don't get expanded upon, certain characters, certain storylines sort of feel a little bit surface level, but at the meat of it, with Dev Patel and his character, I thought all of that was really well done, and yeah, a really strong debut for the movie. And like you mentioned, one that gets better as it goes, and that third act is well worth the ticket price. So highly recommend people watch it for that alone. And for me, it is going to be a 4 out of 5 as well. Just a very mean, gritty, teeth punching action movie that is very cathartic and fun. Revenge movies are always fun, and what Dev Patel was able to do with that with the genre, I thought was really cool.
And in our private conversation, Byrne, I think, brought up a very good casting decision for Dev, that he would not be a bad James Bond. And after watching him execute the action scenes and pulling off suits left and right, I'm like, yeah, I would totally be down for that. So it would be kind of remind me of the whole discussion, be like the Blue Raja and Mystery Men, but that's for another time. For those of you who did catch this movie this last weekend, what did you think of it? Did you really like it? Was it just okay? Was it weird? We'd love to know that in the comments, just to keep the conversation going and get your thoughts. But until next time, everyone, stay bodacious and just keep on ranting for the both of us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.